I'm sure you've all visited the magical theme park of SeaWorld, am I right? Well, for those of you who haven't, you may have heard of it as described as magical. I first had my own magical experience in Orlando when I saw Tilikum lift his little fin in the air, give his signature splash, and wow the crowd. Well, first, who is Tilikum? Tilikum was a friendly and highly interactive orca whale captured in waters near Iceland by poachers and was bought by SeaWorld in 1983 as some sort of pet for performance to increase revenue. Caught up in all the excitement of his performances, little did I know how horribly these mystical sea creatures were being treated. But maybe some of y'all have heard about SeaWorld's previous promises to stop breeding orcas. Well, in fact, Stephen Wells, director of the Animal League Defense Fund, verified that SeaWorld had promised in 2016 to discontinue orca shows by the end of 2019. Wells and his team had to fight for 2 years to pass the Florida Orca Protection Act, which would make exploiting or holding orcas captive illegal. In response to this, SeaWorld sent corporate lobbyists to shut down this act, as they didn't see a need due to the promise they already had made to shut down orca shows. But as 2019 rolled around, unsurprisingly, SeaWorld failed to fulfill their promise as more shows were scheduled for 2020. So as long as exploiting orcas remains legal in Florida, SeaWorld will continue this barbaric practice for as however long as they can. Now, as I watched several documentaries, such as Blackfish, I was shocked to find out that these whales were violently plucked from their families in the wild. They used these sort of fish nets to separate the child and the mom because they were only interested in the small ones since they'd be more cooperative and easy to manipulate. Once they arrived at the theme park, they were forced into a small concrete wall tank and straight away got to training. During the training process, what shocked me the most is that for every trick they didn't get right or refused to learn, they would not get fed for a certain period of time. Now, trailing back to Tilikum's story, as he grew older and more whales started coming in, the theme park ran out of space and had to put the female whales in with him. Now, you may be wondering, well, what's the problem? This was a huge problem because not only did it create artificial social groupings, but in the ocean, the whale world is a matriarchal society. So Tilikum would often get beat up and carry bloody marks on his fins because of the females trying to assert their dominance. Although this is normal behavior in the wild, it was dreadful for Tilikum, as he could not even swim away like he would have been able to in the ocean. All of these triggering factors, captivity, punishment, and violence in the park, have led Tilikum and other whales to lash outs, injuring or even killing their trainers. I mean, I know I would definitely lash out at some point if I had that much trauma built up inside of me, and that too in a concrete tank where there's no escape. Can you believe that to this day, there have only been 7 reported accidents, not attacks, but accidents in the wild between the orca whale and humans over the past 100 years, and none of them being fatalities? I want you to take a minute, and this may sound strange, but just try to imagine yourself as an orca whale, as Tilikum. Just picture yourself swimming with your pod in the clear waters of the Atlantic Ocean, just trying to catch a meal. You and your pod come across this huge school of fish, but before you can enjoy your snack, there's this huge net that has separated you from your entire pod. In a matter of minutes, you feel yourself coming out of the waters in this scary black trap, and a few hours later, you're relocated to some random tank across the country. The Atlantic Ocean is 111,000 kilometers wide, while Tilikum's tank was 600th of a kilometer wide. His tank was around 16 million times smaller than his natural habitat. Now, if this were you, stuck in a tank the size of, let's say, your room, you wouldn't be able to go out, get fresh air. You'd just be stuck in that room every second, 24/7, 365 days until you literally perish. I find it ridiculous that we obtain joy and entertainment from animals suffering in a way that we cannot begin to understand. It amazes me how much affection a human can give to an animal, but only under the circumstances of that animal as a pet. Why can't we treat our orca whales the same way? I feel like it's my duty, our duty, to stop this mistreatment of the creatures who rise from the same ground we do. We are essentially shamelessly profiting off of these friendly, magnificent sea animals who deserve to live their life naturally and not in these fake walls. As said by scientist Garrett in the documentary Blackfish, we don't own these whales. Who are we to decide where their home should be? There's a high probability that most of you aren't aware of the current statistics of killer whales in captivity. Did you know as of March 15th, 2021, there are at least 59 held in captivity, where 27 were captured in the wild and 32 were born into captivity. Looking at these stats holistically, however, 166 orcas have been captured since 1961, and 129 have died in captivity, including poor Tilikum in 2017. I want to call a rise to action. We certainly cannot change the past and stop the circus SeaWorld and other parks have created, but the more educated we are about the reality of these orcas, the more sympathetic we become. Thus, the more inclined we are to actually do something about it. So, what can you really do to make a difference? Well, there's a nonprofit organization called the WDC, Whale and Dolphin Conservation, and they have instituted an effective petition for orca whales and have already gotten 4,000 signatures. That's 4,000 people who care about these whales and their freedom. You may be thinking, okay, well, I signed a petition. Now what? Will it end up being ignored by the government like most petitions do? No. Animals in captivity tend to catch the eye of federal agencies such as the National Marine Fisheries Service. The more signatures voiced on the petition, the greater the pressure these agencies have to take action, as they depend on the citizens for input on current issues. Signing a petition is the most straightforward and meaningful way you, as an environmentally responsible citizen, can help make a difference. Sign WDC's petition for orca whales in captivity now and help amplify the voice that Tilikum and his kin never had. Thank you.